The electorate of Werriwa and the suburbs like West Hoxton, Middleton Grange, Long Point, Prestons and Casula have been waiting for a decent internet connection for over a decade. First residents in Werriwa were told that you can't have ADSL because you live too far from the exchange or there aren't any ports left. Then they were told that Telstra was holding off on upgrades to the local area because of the impending rollout of the NBN. Then they were told that the NBN was finally coming soon to their homes, but now, in November 2017, they discover that they will be waiting at least another 6 to 9 months. I'm beginning to wonder if those opposite just assume that slow commutes and lousy internet speeds in south-western Sydney makes us a really patient people. If that is the case, I'm more than happy to dispel that illusion. A number of my constituents in Hinchinbrook have recently been moved over to the HFC. They've not reported a positive experience at all. A forum I held earlier this year in nearby Greenway Park was over capacity, primarily as a result of people wanting to voice their issues with their new connections. The complaints range from poor internet speeds to a lack of information and clear instructions for back-to-base alarms, medical alarms and landline-only services. One constituent in particular, Mr Johnny Multari, has been trying for 5 months to have the issues with his HFC connection rectified. Mr Multari had an internet connection over the existing Telstra cable network, the same network that the NBN uses for its HFC, and was advised that his service quality would improve after switching over. He was disappointed, to say the least, when he discovered his speeds were substantially slower, particularly in the peak after switching to HFC. He reported the issue and was paid many visits by NBN technicians, who each time would examine the line in his premises, confirm that it was a network issue caused by upstream congestion. The technicians also confirmed to him he wasn't the only household affected in the area and that they would make NBN aware of the issue. Each time Mr Multari's issues having been reported to the NBN, nothing else would happen, as the NBN would mark the issue as resolved and state that the issue was with his service provider and not the network. His sheer frustration with the whole situation was so great, he said he'd rather be reconnected to the older Telstra cable connection until that network switchover date, because he would at least have time to find somewhere else to live that had a decent internet connection. That is not a reasonable decision for anyone in Australia to have to make. And it isn't just technicians that have been acknowledging the issues with the HFC network for some time. Even providers are aware of the issues. Another of my constituents in Hinchinbrook was recently advised that he was now able to switch over to the new HFC connection. When he asked his service provider Telstra about service quality and what he could expect, he was told his current internet speeds were the best he would get, and when he went over to the HFC it would be a slower connection. How has it taken so long for anyone to acknowledge that the HFC network was a disaster for most households for the start? I would have thought it was common sense that before inflicting such technology, you would check it actually delivers and improves service quality. The reality is we're seeing yet again that the Liberals' NBN for what it is, a cheap second-rate combination of old technologies cobbled together in a way that not only fails to improve speed for many households but makes the speed slower. For those other constituents who've waited for any internet, they now must wait longer. I've spoken about residents of Long Point in this place before, who probably feel that they've already served their time, have originally been promised HFC connections back in February, but continue to wait for any connection, and now for another 9 months. The minister said in October that the NBN would be the envy of the world. Unfortunately, the corner of that world that my electorate occupies would not agree with that statement, and it seems that the 160% rise in complaints to the Telecommunication Ombudsman in the last financial year share their frustration. The experience of Werriwa residents is simply not good enough. They deserve much better. Small business can't function, students can't do schoolwork, and pensioners are confused and concerned. The NBN rollout must be improved. Not to do so relegates my constituents to third-rate or fourth-rate services. I'm continuing to push for a better deal for residents in Werriwa.